Hello, my name is Eric Hennessy, and I'm going to show you the key results your energy tracking system should be able to provide by showing you a sample energy report from Arctic Fox Energy Tracking. The goal here is to focus on making energy-saving decisions instead of digging through millions of numbers of spreadsheet data. First, I want to briefly cover the motivation for energy tracking in the first place. Most municipalities and organizations with at least a few facilities want to stay on top of the usage and cost picture of each of their facilities for these reasons. First, to detect costly equipment malfunctions early. A misconfigured or broken system can easily waste thousands of dollars for every month the malfunction goes undetected. This is the key reason facility managers love these reports. Second, to plan and measure energy savings. Energy managers try to identify which facilities will benefit the most from a retrofit, and to answer this question they need good, usable data. And after the retrofit work has been completed, it's important to do a quantitative return on investment analysis rather than rely on the hand-waving estimates most often resorted to. Thirdly, managers want to routinely track their energy to easily complete any reporting obligations you may have, such as to City Council, the province, or to apply for rebates or meet climate change obligations. To introduce Arctic Fox Energy Tracking, we've been tracking the energy of many cities in BC for over a half-dozen years. For example, we currently serve some of the largest cities in the province, including the cities of Richmond, Burnaby, Delta, and the District of North Vancouver. We also serve municipalities in Alberta. We call ourselves a full-service energy tracking service provider, which means we do all of the work for you to save the most amount of time possible. Each month we access all of the latest data on your behalf directly from the utility company, import it into your database, and convert the database into an online report that has the exact graphs and summary tables that a manager needs to quickly know exactly what's happening with each building and with the municipality as a whole. So let me show you what one of these web page reports looks like. Here it is. So each report is laid out in a cascading tree structure where you can access the relevant graphs and data tables at the grand total level here, at the very top of the tree, which shows the total data for all of the meters of the city added together, and at various sub-levels, such as all of the buildings together, or all of the lighting meters, or all of the water and wastewater meters, as well as at the subclass level, which could be, for example, all of the libraries, and finally at the other end of the tree at the facility level. So for example, City Hall, and within that, the meters themselves. Let's take a look at the grand total page first. This is the most frequently accessed page because high-level reports to City Council or the province can be completed just by copying and pasting several numbers, whether it be the total energy usage, or cost breakdown, or the total greenhouse gas emissions. We've heard from so many energy managers that before they started receiving our reports, they spent so much time just trying to manipulate their data to get a clear picture of what was happening with each building and for the municipality as a whole, or sometimes even spending over $10,000 for a consultant to produce a one-off report once a year that only served one function. Now these numbers are available at their fingertips in an instant whenever they want them and can be used in a myriad of ways. As we scroll down, we can see that the total use and cost by year is presented in several different graphical forms. We're going to head right to the top electricity consumers graphs. Any energy tracking system should be able to make clear comparisons between your facilities to identify candidates for energy audits and energy efficiency retrofits. Here we can see which facilities are contributing the most to the total usage of the municipality and how the cost breaks down within each facility. Here it's clear that City Hall is the major consumer. Now this provides the first clue about where to focus our energy reduction measures. Now we scroll down to the gas graphs heading. The gas graphs are pretty much the same as the electricity graphs, but they have some interesting features that I want to point out. Your energy tracking system should help you easily make comparisons to historical data like the previous month, the previous year, and the average of the last few years to help catch changes in usage that may indicate malfunctions and waste energy. So this graph here shows the last 13 months of usage. This is the blue line. The blue shading shows the minimum, maximum, and average usage of the last 3 years for comparison, so we can see at a glance how we're performing compared to previous years. So this is here minimum, average, and maximum. So we can see right away that in January and February of 2014, the usage has been quite significantly higher than it has for the last 3 years. That may indicate there's an issue somewhere that may warrant an investigation. The red line and shading here shows heating degree days, which represent cold weather based on temperature data from the nearest weather station, so we can compare trends in usage to how cold it's been. In another representation, over here on the right, we can see the last 6 years of usage for each month compared side by side. Again, we can see the higher than average January and February usage values. We can also see how we're using quite a bit less energy in the current month for July. Next, we have a historical chart that goes back as far as we have data. For many cities, we were able to obtain data back to the early 2000s. Scrolling further, we have some cost graphs, and finally we have the data tables themselves. These are really the meat of the report, because here we can see the actual usage numbers normalized to the month. Now, this idea of month normalized data is a really important concept, so let me explain what's happening here. Since meters are read sporadically throughout the year, there generally won't be consistency with when these reading dates are or how many days they cover. To know what energy our buildings are using and to make meaningful comparisons, this data needs to be converted into monthly data. This is quite critical to obtain an accurate picture of usage, and the main reason people have such a hard time working with the raw data that most utility companies give them, since that data just gives the usage associated with the reading period and not the month. So here's how we do this conversion. In this example, we have 2 reading periods. In period 1, the reading was taken on September 10th and covering the 20 days back to August 20th. So if we want to find the usage for September, we want to retain the last 10 days of that reading. And similarly, for the second period, September 11th to October 15th, we're going to keep the first 20 days of the 35 days in that reading. Adding those two numbers together, according to this formula, we get the best picture of usage for September. Now heading back to the report, we have a table for the electricity data which shows how the costs break down in these various columns. And you can get a spreadsheet of all this date normalized data going back all the years, including further cost breakdowns such as taxes, by exporting your data using this link here. There's another data table for gas and for both energy sources taken together, as well as a table for yearly data. Now at the end of the year, these numbers here represent an enormous value, since they are the consolidation of millions of numbers from hundreds of meters and many different data files, all pulled together and unified. Now I'm going to show you a facility page. We're going to go to City Hall, and we come to a page that actually looks very similar to the one we just saw, the same sorts of graphs. But in this case, instead of looking at all the meters of the municipality added together, we're just looking at the meters associated with this particular facility or facility complex. So in this case, we have 2 buildings being fed by 3 meters, 2 electricity meters and 1 gas meter. Here we have the same graphs and data tables as the grand total page, except at the facility level, we also have weather normalized and Q-sum graphs, which attempt to subtract the effects of environmental factors. So your energy tracking system should be able to adjust your data for weather factors, since we expect to use more energy during a colder winter, for example. So that increased usage shouldn't be flagged necessarily as a problem, nor take away credit from energy reduction measures. So for example, if a building has been retrofitted and you want to measure the energy cost savings, we define a baseline period, such as the year preceding the retrofit, and then apply a least squares linear regression here to get weather normalized data, which ideally has removed the effect of external temperature changes. Now we can calculate a Q-sum or cumulative sum graph, which represents the energy savings regardless of climate. Scrolling to the bottom, we also calculate some different metrics at this level, such as usage per unit area, which can be compared to benchmarks so you get a sense of how energy efficient your building is overall. There are 2 more short sections of the report that I want to show you. The first is this alert page, which shows any facility that has a spike or drop in energy past a certain threshold, in this case 15%, compared to the previous month, to help you detect those waste energy scenarios. And lastly, we have a summary page that has all of the date normalized and summarized data for all of the meters all together in one file, which depending on how you want to use your data can be a massive time saver. Just to show you an example of what one of these exports look like, here you can see all of the gas data for one facility, in this case City Hall, by the month, as well as the electricity data and total data. And scrolling down, we have all the other facilities as well. So as you can see, we capture many different line items showing the cost breakdown. Now back in the report, here you can also export your latest master account and facility lists. And I'm going to show you what an account list looks like here. In setting up a new client for energy tracking, this is the only thing that they need to do. After giving us authorization to access the utility data directly from the providers, we produce this spreadsheet that lists all of the utility meters and includes the identifier and address on file with the utility company. And then all you have to do is classify these meters by specifying which facility a given meter is associated with and what type of facility that is. This only needs to be done once, and then you can simply anticipate an email from us each month letting you know that your energy report has been updated and is ready for immediate use. No work and no hassle. That concludes this energy tracking demo. If you'd like to explore the sample report on your own, you can do so at the web address shown here. Or if you have any questions or interest in receiving a quote for energy tracking services, please feel free to get in touch and we can schedule a time to chat. Bye for now.